Like getting rid of people that we have no reason to have here in the first place?
No, like using the White House for his crypto scam to profit from the White House and to get
I like
money
how you're
from Chinese
deflecting
billionaires.
from what. I like how you deflected from what
I
I said
gave you my
to something
example for
else.
why Trump does not like America because
I
he's
asked
profiting
you
from the
for it.
White House.
Okay. Okay. Cryptocurrency. Is he using the federal dollars for crypto?
He's using the White House and pressuring companies using the power of the presidency.
Pressuring? Is he forcing them by like the hand of God, putting a gun to their head? Are they able to make other decisions?
No. So tariffs are really funny because you can beg for exemptions, and one way to beg for exemptions is to donate to Trump through his cryptocurrency and to make him profit. Yeah.
Yeah, I would just say that this is going to be able to reimburse for everything that he used to be able to become president, which I wouldn't find this immoral. And tariffs, I would just say by themselves are decent because we don't have a moral obligation to protect the trade for everyone else.
Tariffs are killing our trade. It's not really protecting anyone else's. Tariffs are like doing tariffs hurts the
Okay,
American economy, so it taxes
if we're
us.
talking tariffs, so technically this is going to be foreign companies too trying to import stuff into the United States. Is this not?
Whoever they are importing to pays the tariff. That's how they work when you sign
Uh,
the tariff form.
yeah.
Yes.
And I'm going to say instead of importing it from other countries and flooding our market, let's just say in this hypothetical, you have a country and I have a country, and I'm importing, and let's just say epinephrine. You know what that is used for?
You say epinephrine,
Yep.
like EpiPen.
Yep. So if I am able to import at a cheaper cost than you and be able to flood your market with my product and you aren't able to keep up with it, and then at some point, what do you think your economy is going to do when it comes to that situation? Do you think you're going to still make the product, or do you think that you would go away from that product and go into something else?
If you were tariffing for one exact product and doing like tax cuts and subsidies, that's a completely different conversation, though. Like, I mean,
Wait,
Trump's
no,
tariffs are not what you're saying.
tariffs are going to be taxing any type of products coming in. So in this situation, if in your country I'm able to produce goods at a cheaper cost than you and flood your market with it, this is the same situation that is taking place. If we look at the tariffs, this is going to be on goods coming from other countries. This is why I brought it back to the situation. If you own a country and I own a country, and I'm able to make the products cheaper than you and flood your market, what would you use your money in that case since you're not able to beat my cost?
Flooding our markets. See, this is complicated because we're not talking about like if you look at America being a very rich consumer economy versus like Vietnam or Cambodia, we'd have to talk about like a particular product that I actually do know more information about.
Yeah, this is why I just gave the simple one of epinephrine. Because if I'm able to flood
Well,
your
EpiPens
economy,
being flooded in America with EpiPens would be a good thing for our prices for EpiPens. That would be a good thing.
okay, so but then you'd be relying on my country making effort epinephrine for you. Do you disagree
Yeah, I
with
mean
this?
that's yeah, but one of the issues right now we
Okay,
have
so
is
wait,
with like
hold up a second.
modern
Let's
development,
stay on one point.
we rely on other countries. We're going to rely on
Let's
Canada or
stay
Mexico.
let's
There's no
stay
way
on
America can be self-sufficient
wait,
at this level.
let's stay on this point. So if I'm able to flood your market and then something happens between us, let's just say a bad term, and then I stop producing that for your country. Yes, you can go to another location, but in that time period when you're looking for another like location to be able to buy from, what is happening to the people inside of your country?
You are making an argument for protecting domestic manufacturing or bolstering it, not about tariffs. Tariffs do not accomplish that goal. This is a different debate
Yeah,
that
tariffs
you want to
are
have.
yeah, oh wait, tariffs are going to be actively and like helping the federal government because this is going to be more money that we can be able to get put into the situation so we can maybe find research that can make the lower the cost or at the same time for us to have other closer allies because money can make a lot of other people more on our side. This is why I'm saying tariffs are initially good because if someone's actively flooding your market, we can see how much products do we typically get from China yearly.
The issue with what this conversation entails is that a 10% across the board tariff is not going to influence any companies to move anything to America. That's not how this is going to work. It's not
Wait,
how it
wait.
ever worked. You're talking about bringing back manufacturing in America. Like a 10% tariff, like on everything coming into America, is not going to encourage manufacturing. I'd even argue the 100% tariff will not do it because if companies have that much of
Wait,
a price shock, they're not going to just do like a different 10-year investment for a supply chain, move it back to America for what? So Trump can leave with unilateral tariffs that he himself takes care of.
how much money typically would the tariffs make? At 10% across the board for all the imported goods. How much do we get from China and other countries right now daily? We can
I
look
don't
at
know
the
what you
simple
mean by
number.
make. Where do you think the money's coming from?
Yeah, I would just say that the money that we're actively doing this is going to be the like businesses where they are outsourcing their goods and doing this at a cheaper cost, which this is going to be flooding our market with certain products, which could very much flood our market until there's a situation that happens where like if their society crashes and then we do not have the supply that we
Okay,
needed.
if you want
Supply
to
and
bring, okay,
demand.
I'll tell you how this actually works. If you want to bring back any type of manufacturing to America, you need to provide subsidies. You need to provide a leveled
I disagree.
actual policy or tax credits on the American side. Tariffs are not going to, and especially unilateral tariffs, are not going to move any manufacturing back to America. Do you know why?
I disagree.
How many years do you think it takes to build one factory?
It depends on the factory.
For any factory, for anything we would need for national defense? How long for semiconductors in America?
For just any type of thing. So we can just go with like a gun. This would only take like a year to 2 years.
Most factories will take 3 to 5 years. Entire supply chains take around 10 years, and these investments are
Most?
made in groups of 5 or
Wait, you
10.
just said name a factory. I gave you one gun, a gun factory. How long does it take to be able to have a gun
We
factory
make
up and
enough
going?
weapons in America. If you want to talk about semiconductors and
Wait,
chips
hold up,
and
hold
rare
up.
earth
This is
minerals,
another situation.
minerals or
Because when we're
metals.
talking, yeah, no, because when we're talking about like the foreign coming into the situation, like the goods, supply and demand, if we're able to flood the market with an outside source where you're able to get a higher demand from it into our country, and you flood it, and we rely on that a lot more, and then there's a turmoil, what would happen to that like item?
I don't know what the hell you're saying. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, so epinephrine. Let's just keep this simple for you. If I am selling epinephrine in your country at a lower cost than you can make it, right? What would you do with your epinephrine?
I don't know what you do.
What would you do? Just answer the hypothetical.
I don't know.
Oh, you're not going to engage?
No, why would I engage, bro? Like, you have no facts on your side about this. You're talking with authority.
Yeah,
When
I
you're
have
talking with like
facts.
zero, you're talking outside of every single piece of information we have about the economy. We have surveys from
Wait,
top companies, by the way. We have surveys from these same companies that for chips and electronics and semiconductors, and most of them are going to freeze their assets or just pause investments for the next 4 years if Trump does these tariffs. By the way, that's what the actual
yeah,
surveys say. That's what the actual business movements say.
yeah, and even with the business move is stopping this, they're still importing goods from outside of the country into the United States. How much money has been going into the federal
If
economy?
you want to
Where,
increase taxes on working class people, you could own that, but don't act like
wait,
other countries are paying for it.
wait, hold up a second. When I'm saying this, have I said that other countries are, or have I always said that the business person that is actively
The
outsourcing their
American
products?
people are going to pay the tariffs, small businesses especially.
I'm going to say that the businesses are.
Yeah, and what are they going to do with these transactions? What do they do with sales taxes?
Yeah, I would just say that they're going to try to increase it, and if you don't like it in that location, go to like a farmer's market or go to another location where you can get the goods
What
at a
happens
cheaper
in supply
demand.
and demand if all these products increase in price that are imported?
What's going to happen if it's
Yes.
increased? Then we would go back to what we did, kind of like with the situation I brought to you about the
If
epinephrine.
the imported goods increase in price, what happens to the American-made goods? American-made goods.
Yeah, I would just say that it's going to be about the same or lower.
So the American-made goods will be more expensive because the
No, I
tariffs goods are
disagree.
more expensive. That's how it works. That's how supply and demand
Wait,
works. That's how
no,
it
the
works in the first
tariffs.
Trump term.
Wait, you're saying this wrong because the tariffs are going to be from the importing of being able to have stuff from outside of the country. When it comes to the situation, if you make it inside of your country, then you don't have to worry about it.
Do you realize that if you make something in America, you still need supplies from global suppliers, right? We can't
You
make
can also
everything in
get.
America to supply America. That's impossible. We don't have the
Wait,
numbers in America to even provide 1/10 of our resources without
wait.
trade.
How much resources do we have in the United States?
I don't know how much resources. If you look at any data set for any of these supply chains, we cannot produce it solely in the
What's the
U.S.
big?
There's no economically viable route for it.
What is the biggest resources the United States has?
What is it?
Metal, wood, and at the same time oil. Do you disagree with this?
Not necessarily.
Not necessary. Okay, cool. So if I created a wooding or a wood factory, would I get taxed if at a higher percentage if I'm actively selling wood versus someone that imports wood? This is going to be a situation where it's going to be cheaper.
No, it would not be. It would still not be
Why?
cheaper. Because of American labor and American resources are not high enough for that. It would also cut off, so like total lumber supply, for example, if we are going to cut off the outside markets for lumber, we don't have lumber coming in from Russia or Canada or any other country. American lumber is going to shoot through the roof. We're going to have supply shortages. We'll have shortages at that
Wait, it
point.
wouldn't
The
be
economy will crash. Yeah.
supply shortages.
It's whenever there's
We
price
would have more
controls.
factories.
But this is why your communistic price controls never work, because you
Yeah,
drive
I'm
up
not
the
a
prices,
communist.
businesses don't invest, but you're advocating for communistic policies, price
I
controls,
disagree with
and
this.
you ruin the free market, and then
Communist
businesses just don't participate. There's going to be supply shortages if you completely cut off all trade. Yeah, this is
Wait,
communism. This is
wait,
communist
no, free
policy.
market. Wait, free market. If you want to be part of the market, you can.
Yeah, these
I
are
would
price
just have
controls. Yeah,
wait,
these are still price
wait,
controls.
wait, but communist market or communist system, if we look at Stalin doesn't believe in money in the market in the first place.
Communism in terms of China, or communism in terms of
Okay, so
Soviet
then that
Union,
wouldn't
and
be
then also let's
that
see,
wouldn't be
communism in terms of
communism unless if
Cuba.
we're talking about
Actually, no, yeah,
1919.
price controls are bad. Yeah,
Price control is bad.
yeah, price controls are bad. Price controls, especially on tariffs. Yeah.
Oh, so if I have epinephrine and the price control, the max I can spend for it is going to be $2. Is that bad?
No. So like, if you look at every product in America, you look at every drug or pharmaceutical. If you want to talk about like, hey, how do we get the prices down? You don't just say we're going to put a 10% tax on everything, or like one number for everything. You would have you'd go product by product and understand, okay, well, what's the supply? What does the supply chain look like? What can the business handle? And you do negotiations per product. That's why trade deals usually take 5 to 10 years for
Yeah,
really big trade
It
deals.
should just be a flat rate across the board.
Well, that's just really stupid. I mean, if you want to do
Wait,
stupid
why is
policies,
that really
that's fine.
stupid?
Because every single product has a different supply chain and different supply in general. You can't just have one size fits all with the economy. Like,
Yeah, 10%.
why are we tariffing coffee?
Oh wait, sorry, I put you on mute. Hold on. So if you have something across the board, 10% of what the product's worth, or the 10% of the action of whatever it is, let's just say phones, 10% of how much that phone is worth, this is going to be the tariff that you have to pay to bring that phone in. This is going to be a good set flat, so no one can say, oh, this is too much or this is too little.
Why are tariffs on phones the same as tariffs on coffee?
Yeah, I would just say that this is this is going to be 10% of the product.
Okay, why is there a 10% tax on coffee?
Why?
Yes.
Because we can be able to produce coffee in the United States.
There you go. Because coffee is one of the easiest dunks ever. Because even if you took every part of the United States that could produce coffee and you produce coffee with it, you cannot provide even 1/10 or even 5% of our coffee supply.
Yeah, I would like a source for that.
In Hawaii is like the only place you can reliably grow it, because it's the climate is good enough there for daily temperatures.
Florida, Texas. We could talk about California in certain locations.
It's
Oregon,
not. No, it's not. Okay, actually, no. It's experimental in Florida. It's experimental in California. The climate there is not working for coffee. So that one point alone this is really defeating.
Wait,
okay, I can find a source for you.
Wait, hold up. Yeah, I would like a source. And I wonder, have you found an argument for my causal obligation yet?
Everything you're saying right now is debunked by every liberal, communist, conservative economist in the world. So I mean, it's hard for me to respond to things that make zero sense at all. Okay, 1 second. Oh, look at that. Sage brush coffee. Look at that. The successes and failures of growing coffee in America. Awesome.
Okay, let me pull this up real quick. You said Sage, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to find data on it, because that's just a coffee blog.
Yeah, because we can look at coffee in the United States, NCA. This is something that could be done, providing jobs and supports the economy and allowing the people to enjoy coffee, popular brewing. We could also look at the situation of the economic of the coffee industry. This is something from the National Coffee Association. Being able to make coffee in the United States, it depends on what type of coffee bean that you want to use. There's multiple sources saying that we can be able to do this in the
So currently America consumes 3 billion pounds of coffee per year, according to the USDA. The U.S. production is less than 1 million pounds per year. Almost all of it comes from Hawaii, tiny amount from Puerto Rico, and very small forms in California. And a lot of it is just there's not room to build if they're producing currently 0.05%, there's zero chance America could become self-sufficient with coffee.
Yeah, what source is saying this?
The economic impact report. I mean, just from a terms of mathematical numbers and total land area where we can grow the coffee that's available in these in these states. It's just like it's hard talking to someone like you because it's so logically broken. But I don't know if you're purposely
Wait,
lying.
I'm not logically
Yeah, you are
broken
because you know.
wait,
Like okay, do you think 1 million and 3 billion? How do you think we could? How many multitudes do we have to like increase our coffee supply?
yeah, we would have to increase it by a lot. I would just say that this is going to be where more private businesses can be able to go into it, which I said I'm a libertarian, which if more private business
You're a
goes into
libertarian?
Yep. And
That's
I
why you're
agree with
so
tariffs.
stupid. Holy shit, that's why you're so stupid.
Wait,
Okay, a
you said
maximum
I'm
feasible
stupid,
capacity, USDA maximum capacity, even if we tried to increase it, it'd be up to 1 or 2% for coffee. Even if we took every place in America, it's 1 to 2% coffee according to the USDA again. So like the idea, so do you admit that we cannot become self-sufficient with coffee in America? We'd have to cut down our consumption
yeah, I
by
would have to read the
98%.
source. I've already given you multiple sources. Let me read it real quick. What was the name of the source?
It's a USDA report. Okay, I'm done, bro. I'm not doing it. I'm talking to someone else. I can't do it. Someone else call in. I'm not going through a bunch of sources on the most. Like that's so painful. It's one of the most basic things ever. You don't expect to have to talk to someone about why we cannot produce 3 billion pounds of coffee in America. Like I mean if you don't like I don't even have a good analogy, bro. I mean, we could just stop having coffee in America. It's not a debate. You're just very stupid. It's not a debate at all. Like there's no logical way you could even imagine that to be feasible at all, but you're asking for a source for it. Like that is pure autism. Like I'm not doing that, bro. Not doing that. That's so cringe. Like if you want to be purely autistic, that's fine, but I'm not doing that. I mean, yeah, we have very few locations with the climate to grow coffee. It's like sources. Okay, wait. All right, let's try doing a new stream for the algorithm. Hopefully we get some motion here. All right, I'm gonna restart this and do a new stream. You can refresh the channel, get some new callers. I have no callers waiting, so we gotta refresh it. Maybe we'll do another Charlie Kirk reaction. Did Exodus support abortion? Let's see what's here. Wait. I gotta go bathroom quick. I'm restarting my stream and going bathroom, okay? See you guys in a second. Restart it, refresh it.